Hello and welcome to Insights in Action with Orange 142, where we interview agency leaders and business owners to uncover the journeys, strategies, and insights that drive their success. At Orange 142, we're all about transforming brand stories into impactful digital experiences through innovative media and marketing solutions. And today I'm very lucky to be joined by Dan of VisualFizz. How's it going, Dan?
Oh, can't complain. Doing well. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. And Dan, just to start off, I'd love to learn a little bit more about you and Visual Fizz, which is an awesome name for an agency.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Oh, man. My background has been in ops management, finance, agency world. I've been in agency world for a long time. Launched Visual Fizz 8 years ago, and it's changed so much since then. So I'll jump fast forward a little bit to today. Predominantly focused on driving growth for established B2B brands. Established is an interesting word that we really had to finagle, but our key clients are generally mid-market growth stage organizations that have been around for decades, primarily focused in B2B. Many of our clients are 50 to 100 to 150 years old, in their rebirth stage, or trying to really understand how to scale up through marketing. Have a great team. We're remote friendly across the country, but Chicago based, which has been really excellent, and full service. I think we really cover it from beginning, middle, end for many of our clients.
That's awesome. When you're dealing with B2B clients, I feel like a lot of them are really after, hey, we need leads. We want to drive revenue right now. I think every company is really after that. But still with B2B, it's like, hey, we want leads. Is that what you guys help with? Or is it more so this, hey, let's build up your company as this Europe with the content that we can create for you guys?
Good question. It so depends on the type of client. All of us need leads, but I think it really depends on how they're going to come in because we have a lot of clients and customers who are in what I call kind of like boring industries, which we love, and their web presence, their digital presence is just subpar for many years, but they've grown over the years because you didn't quite need those things over the decades. Now you do, and you have a change of hands generationally. You have new leadership coming in, and oftentimes they say, we need help figuring it out." And that's a question like, really, what does that mean? Is that internal? Is that external? But oftentimes, with many of my clients, what happens is we go through a branding exercise, depending on where the brand lies. And that might be a rebrand. Might be what I call a responsible branding effort, meaning we're not going to flip the brand on its head and turn everything around, but just lightly clean things up. Then it goes into the web, right? Is the web experience good? Do people know how to get to the website? How's the SEO? So it's really focused on the infrastructure first before we even think about leads. I have a lot of clients that come to me for paid search, for example, very much a lead gen driven service. But before we drive those leads, what I say is it's like building a highway going through a small town. That small town is going to crumble underneath the highway if it can't support the huge influx of growth that we're paying for. So eventually it leads to the leads. But first we have to build the infrastructure to get there and make sure that the work that we're doing is sustainable enough. And then we go through the lead generation and the funnels and what is generally a very long lead time or six time to
Yeah.
close for these for B2B. So drive that ship a little bit or drive that process to get to the end of that kind of lead funnel and actually close the deal for many of our clients.
Yeah. Wow, that's really interesting. Is that a pretty big like thing in terms of educating your clients? Is that a pretty big hurdle to overcome usually, especially with these like very set in stone companies that have been around for 100 years? Like marketing is completely different from when they first started to now. So is there a lot of that education and be like, this is why we have to do what we do?
It depends on the stakeholder. So many of my clients are big companies. They're doing 50, 100 plus $1 million in sales, and they have one marketing person. But that marketing person is generally on our side, right? They're pushing and they're advocating because they understand that you need marketing in order to scale and stay relevant because there's so much PE money going out. There's so much venture capital and companies that are merging into one kind of behemoth through roll-ups. And so really, these are companies that are rapidly scaling up. Some of the clients I have really have to think about that. A lot of money being thrown into digital to win new clients or customers for them. And so oftentimes, yeah, when we have that marketing person, they're on our side, but it's teaching the C-suite, the leadership, that you have to invest the dollars to continue to scale up and understanding the math behind our kind of key phrases that every marketer uses, which is like return on investment, ROAS, cost, customer acquisition costs, like all of those things, and making sure that they understand that you may not need 20, 30 salespeople like you used to. You
Yeah.
may just actually have to have a great marketing team and half the salespeople to just make sure that they close those deals with that personal touch. So it's a lot of education. But our hope is that our clients trust us enough. But yeah, when they're new relationships, we ease into that and make sure that they feel really confident in working with an agency because oftentimes it's their first agency.
Wow, that's really interesting. And a little bit more on that, your mission is to help brands become indispensable. In your view, what separates a brand from from a brand that people can't live without from one they can't ignore?
Yeah, I think oftentimes, and this is going to be a non B2B answer because I think that's oftentimes what happens in the consumer world as well. Is it oftentimes doesn't even matter about what your product is to some degree. It doesn't matter what your service is. It's really how the perception of your company is to kind of a mass of people, right? And if, whether you're selling to one or selling to many, right? Direct to consumer, you're trying to get critical mass. In the B2B world, you really just need a couple of great clients to scale. It's customer service. It's the ability to work very easily with said organization. It's just being seamless in the process. And developing that takes a lot of time and a lot of patience and processes. So ultimately, for me, I think that it's a matter of understanding where the customer is at. Depending, it doesn't matter if it's a product or a service or a business or a governmental organization. It's being there for the customer when they need you and also when they don't need you and riding that along with them the entire cycle, whether that's purchasing like a simple pair of socks to becoming the construction company that builds a skyscraper. We're selling to people, so the process is always actually very similar.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. It's so your core principles almost they remain the same across any type of industry, really, and then across all of time. Those principles
Mhm.
are timeless. That's
Yeah.
really interesting. So here at Visual Fizz, you guys are staffed by professionals with 10 to 15 years of experience, even more than that lots of times. So how does that senior level bench change the dynamics of strategy, execution, and client communication?
Good question. So I mentioned I worked at a lot of different agencies and great agencies, but I learned a lot. When you hire individuals to save money, you are oftentimes actually losing money because the work has to be done multiple times. You're training, you're teaching, clients not very happy, the quality and expectations are set pretty low, and ultimately you can lose clients that way. And so the way that I've structured Visual Fizz for 8 years since the beginning, since day one, has been to hire individuals that have that 10, 15 years of experience on average, and if not more. And the reason behind that is because when you have a great team that knows what they're doing, they're going to do it once, they're going to do it well, and they're very well trained to understand the service that they're in. And so I've developed the structure ultimately to say that you are working with folks who have constantly been it's a non-reactive cycle at Visual Fizz, right? Just because something's happening like an algorithmic change, we're not looking to chase algorithms, we're looking to grow with them. And so many of my team members have been through the growth of Meta, the growth of Google Ads, the growth of any platform, and we do push our team quite a bit to stay relevant. Sometimes when you hear those years of experience you say, oh, uh-oh, like that they're aged out of their industry or whatever.
Yeah.
My team is constantly being educated. We have a fund for that even. And it's important that they know what is the latest and greatest while also understanding the sustainable growth route and hybridizing kind of the way that we recommend stuff. And so to basically like the short answer to a kind of a very long process of learning is it's more efficient to hire really good people who may be a little bit more expensive, who have those years of experience than trying to save a few dollars on hiring people straight up. And I'm not advocating to not hire people out of college, but I'm saying in the boutique marketing industry or agency world, for us, because we're not a huge agency, we really can't afford to mess things up or to train or to do things more than once. And so we try to make sure that all of our clients know that we have individuals who have those at least 10 years of experience.
Yeah. I love that. That's so. I think there was just this period of time. It probably still happens, but I think this was really in the Steve Jobs era where, people were hiring. They're like, I'm going to hire cheap, and then I'm going to train these people up, but I'm going to be really hard on them so that I can get the best out of them. That was like the
Hmm.
Steve Jobs mantra, and it just didn't work. And I think people realize I think probably one of those expensive lessons you have to learn, right? Where you
Oh yeah.
hire somebody that's underqualified and then you spent all this extra time and money trying to train them up and they're just not
It's
done.
very expensive.
Yeah, so I love that approach. And I'm sure even for your clients, it's that there's a safety in knowing that they can work with you. That, okay, the people that we're working with all have like hundreds and hundreds of years of combined experience. I'm comfortable giving this part of my business to them.
Yeah, you have to really build that trust because you give somebody an undertrained staff member, and we're in businesses that are some of our clients are enterprise. Many
Mm,
of our clients have been in their space also for 10, 20 plus years because they're in industries again that are not super sexy and exciting. And so they've been in that world for a long time. They understand it. You can't really just fly by the seat of your pants and learn as you're going because it it's sniffed out very quickly. And I don't want to, I'm not saying that we never hire individuals who are newer, but generally speaking, though, it's just that much easier to say, hey, you've got a team of people you can rely on, and we can probably solve most of your kind of issues or challenges or mysteries or questions because we've done it
yeah.
dozens of times. Just an example for me, really quick, like I talk to clients because I do a lot of the sales and kind of account services now. I've built in my professional career as a project manager and leadership, et cetera, probably 150 plus websites. I've been in probably 300 projects. So it's good when you hear that as a client because like, all right, this person's been through the ringer, back and forth, like they know what they're talking about, or at least have an idea of where the client vendor relationship falls into play and how to manage that successfully.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's awesome. Dan, this has been so great. Thank you so much for being on. Where can people learn more about you and where can people learn more about Visual Fizz?
Yeah, they could just go to visualfizz.com. There's a ton of information. We have probably at this point 60 or 70 case studies. Really great blog. So definitely take a look at all of that. And to contact me, you can just reach out to hello@visualfizz.com or just reach out through one of the forums and tell us more about you, your business, what you're looking for.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. And I checked out your website before this, and I love the branding you guys have. I think it's a stark
I
contrast to
appreciate
a
that.
lot of what we consider as boring industries. So
A lot
really
of
cool
pink.
that, yeah, really cool that you guys practice what you preach. But again, thank you for being on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.